the campfire, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna tell y'all a campfire story. You see, once upon a time, there was this here podcast. Now, some of you might not know what a podcast is, but I'll tell you. It's the when little ghosts that float on the breeze go and find the ears of some little youngsters. And they float up inside their brains and they tell them spooky, scary things. Now, once upon a time, there was one podcast. It was called the How Long to Beat podcast. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like how long to eat. Like how long to eat a can of beans. I can eat a can of beans in 20 seconds flat. Yeah, that's my personal best record. Now, that's not what it is.
I can do it in 15, you son of a bitch.
Hey, Ricky! Ricky, don't you be interrupting me.
But I can't.
Ricky the Kid. I got a 6-shooter with your name on it. 12 steps at high noon. Now, don't be interrupting me now. You see, once upon a time, there was this podcast called the How Long to Beat podcast. It was all about these things called video games. Now, if you never played a video game, you're really missing out. There's some fun shit right there. Now, there were three ghosts on this podcast. There was Kerf Murph, the Calamity Kid. And he was kind of the leader of the gang. He used to ride on a devil horse into the saloons. I don't know why he was riding a dang old horse into the saloon, but he did it. And then people would just like, get that horse out of my saloon. And he was like, well, no. Yeah, he was quite a crazy man. Then there was, well, it was you. It was Ricky the Kid. It was you sitting right in front of me. And he was a maniac. He used to come into that saloon with Kerf Murph and his horse, and he used to say, I'm gonna eat all of you. And then the people would say, don't, please, God, not again. Not like you did.
I ate them all.
He ate every last one of them. And that's why it became a ghost town. They never left us. They never left a town civilized.
Never left my stomach, neither.
Did you memorize this?
He had some stinky poops.
Questions.
He used to go to the outhouse and he used to poop out the villagers for days at a time. Now, the third of all, there was the lady of the group. Her name was Ultimate Zombie Toast. And now, she was called Toast because she'd been burned bad in the past. And she just wanted revenge against the sumbitch who hunted down her doggy, and he just kicked it to the side of the road, and it fell into a ditch, and then the dog couldn't get out of the ditch because his paws, they couldn't get enough traction to climb up the side of the ditch, and nobody wanted to get into the ditch because it was a little swampy and kind of stinky, and nobody wanted to smell like that, so the doggy's just he's trapped down there to this day.
You just left the dog down? Like, I don't know if that's in my character, but okay.
But she wants revenge. She wants revenge. So all these three, they teamed up, and they decided they wasn't going to do none of that anymore, and they was just going to talk about video games. And that...
Natural progression.
That brings us here today, ladies and gentlemen. We have come to the time when the spirits that haunt the airwaves are coming to float again. And they're gonna talk about video games some more. Alright, so thank you. Let's all give a round of applause to our guest host, Mr. Crazy Guy, Crazy Western Guy, for introducing us.
The breeze fucking
That
killed.
straight up took like 4 or 5 minutes.
It took 4 minutes and 28 seconds.
None of it's making it into the final cut.
So, welcome back to the How Long to Beat podcast. It has been quite a long time since we have last graced your ears with our dulcet tones. I am Kerf Murph. I am a person. We have our two other hosts here.
Oh, that was it. Right, sorry.
You were going out for me, so I was just like, oh, what is he saying?
I was totally not sure whether I was going to end up like going over it or not. Anyway, So, I am Ninja Rick, aka the glue that holds this whole thing together. I say it every time, but it doesn't get any less true.
I'm Ultimate Zombie Toast, and apparently I leave dogs to die in a ditch, but okay.
Hey, look, you didn't want to get in because it was a bad ditch. It was a place you didn't want to be. Nobody wanted to go in. Look, you don't have to be ashamed.
The dog's fault. You don't have to be a hero. There you go.
Revenge is more important than saving lives. What's that quote from the new Star Wars movie? It was like, we don't win by fighting what we hate, it's saving what we love. This is kind of the opposite of that.
Nobody watched the new Star Wars movie.
I didn't watch the new Star Wars movie.
Yeah, me neither. So
I gave up on Star Wars.
you could have literally said anything in the world and I would have accepted it as a quote.
Alright, so we're gonna basically use this episode to play catch up because of how long it's been. We don't have a guest host on today except for Mr. Crazy Western Guy, who we have now taken out back behind the barn and shot him for his crimes against humanity. So rest in peace. So what we're gonna do is we're going to have our recently beat currently playing. We're going to have our host segments, and then we are going to potentially answer a question from the forums. I don't even know if it is from the forums or not, but it's a question nevertheless.
It's half from the forums. We'll get there when we get there.
So, recently beat, currently playing. Who will begin?
I'll jump in. I typed them up, so I'm like super prepared this time. I've also got a few retirements. I've retired like 6 games. At least one of them, which I think is going to upset you. So
I feel like I know what it is, but I'm not going to.
I don't think you do, but we'll see. Okay. So there are 6 games I've retired. And the first of those is Soma. And I say retired, I'm probably going to come back to it. But I ignored Dave's advice and played it with the monsters on. And it was pretty shit, and I wasn't enjoying it, so I left it. Also didn't help that it is very, very dark, and it doesn't do a good job of signposting what it wants you to do or where it wants you to go. Maybe I'll come back to that, maybe not, I don't know. The next one is, and I think it's called something different in the US, but it's Kirby Power Paintbrush. For the
Definitely
DM.
Not what it's called over here. I think it's Canvas
Curse.
Curse?
There you go. It's just not very good. Again, it feels like they took what was an okay Kirby game and then slapped an awkward movement mechanic on it and called it a day. And I've tried 3 times. This is the 3rd time I've tried to play it, convincing myself that eventually I'll love it. And I just don't. I don't think I ever will. So that's gone now. Puzzle Bobble Universe for the 3DS. Once you've played the first 5 minutes, you've played all of it. So I got very bored with that very quickly. Nanostray, which is a top-down shooter for the DS. It's like a 3D spaceship thing, very highly regarded. I just don't like it. So I gave it a go, I didn't like it. And I feel like I keep repeating myself. They were all the same thing, played it, didn't like it. Corpse Party.
Oh, say you liked it.
It's not that I didn't like it, it was just so pondering and slow.
Which version did you play?
PSP.
Okay. The DS version seems to be a little bit, because the PSP version, it's like quite old now, and I don't think it was very good for. I think that the DS version handles it a little bit better and like does a little bit better of a job with the translation.
When you say DS, do you mean 3DS?
Yeah, they have a new version out of the older game. They
Right.
revamped the graphics and everything else, and like they redid the translation because back then there wasn't really the support that there is now for translating things like that, so they're not very good.
Yeah, I mean it was like an RPG Maker game played at half speed on PSP.
Yes.
Yeah.
It changed that.
I'd be open to giving it another go. I'll probably get back to it. I mean, is it something that you rate?
There's better.
That's a solid maybe.
Well, I mean, I would give it like maybe a 7. But I think that there's ones that I like better.
Okay. What sort of similar type of genre and concept?
Yeah. Very like similar, but the thing is, like, it's incredibly like disgusting. So I don't know if I can like recommend it. But it's like definitive. Like Euphoria is better, but it's similar. It's just like
grosser.
Really gross.
Oh, that doesn't bother me. I'll give that a go. Euphoria, you say?
Like I don't know. Maybe look into it before you get it.
Come on, give me the skinny. What's so bad about it?
It's got like weird shit in it. Like it's weird.
You keep dancing around it. What is in it that's so bad?
Like literally everything. Literally everything is in it. But it's got a wonderful story.
Okay. I'll give it a go then. What is that? Don't pull that face at me. You could not pull Toast's mouth any wider widthways if you possibly wanted. The teeth are trying to escape from her face.
This is kind of a win-win situation, because if you play it and you like it, great. But if you play it and you have an absolutely horrible time, it'll make for a great story.
Well, and not only that, but you'll know never to, like, not take me seriously again when I, like, say, ooh, I don't know if that one's a good idea. You'll know that it's probably not a great idea.
Oh, dear. Is that on... What's Euphoria on? Is it just a PC game?
PC, yeah.
Okay. I'll make myself a note, and while I do that...
It even has an English translation. Like, you can even buy that one legally. Though I would not pay money for it at first. Like, I would, because I don't know if you're gonna like it. I don't know. Just do you, fam.
This is the weirdest sort of recommendation for anything ever. Anyway, the last game that I retired, before I even get into my beats and plays, was Megaman Maverick Hunter X. And I desperately wanted to like this one, because I loved the ZX Mega Man games. I've got the Zero collection waiting to be played. And I'd always heard such amazing things about X generally as a game. Couldn't get into it. I don't know if it's the ports, I don't know if it's the version, I don't know if it's just the same as puzzle platformers where it's not my genre.
Is this the PSP one?
It is, yeah.
That one is notoriously bad.
Ah, okay.
And glitchy and buggy and everything.
I mean, it's not even that I found it all that buggy, it's just... I mean, the graphics are okay. That obviously isn't the main draw. The pixel art probably is better, objectively. But it felt like you got a snippet of a proper level, and then you faced a boss. And I tried 3 different ones. I tried Storm Eagle, I tried the Praying Mantis one, and I tried one of the other ones. And they all felt the same, where it's like there's a tiny bit of level, and then you face this boss that's ridiculously overpowered, and no fun to face up to. So
I mean, I don't think that the level design would be any different in the earlier games, but I feel like the overpowered bit, I think that's more manageable in the previous. I never felt like the bosses were overpowered in at least the Super Nintendo version.
I don't know. I mean, I said on the forum I'll probably come back to the Super Nintendo version at some point. I got it down. So when I get to it, I get to it. But
were you using boss weaknesses, or were you just doing Buster through most of it?
Well, I didn't manage to beat a single boss other than Vile, so the only weapon I had was the Buster Cannon. What annoyed me the most when I was facing Storm Eagle or whatever his name was, because I did a little bit of reading up, and everyone seemed to say, well, that's the first one to beat.
That's very
because
false.
Because his weapon's powerful. Sorry?
Very false. You go to, what's his name? Ice Penguin first?
Ah, okay.
Or Chill Penguin, that's his name. That's the one you go to first.
Which probably I might have had an easier time if I did. Because Storm Eagle has got 2 moves that blow you sideways off the screen. And no matter what I did health-wise, eventually I would be knocked off the platform for an instant death. And it just wound me up the wall.
The reason you go to Chill Penguin first is you get a dash. You get dash boots, and it makes it much easier to survive those blowing attacks from Storm Eagle.
See, I think that might have been changed, because I think the dash is in the Magma boss's level now.
Oh, is it really?
PSP version.
Okay.
Yeah, they changed some item locations around. I understand. But fuck that, I'll get back to the SNES one at some point. So that's all the games that I didn't beat. The games that I did beat, going from the top, there's about 10 of them. So the first one was the first chronological Layton game, Professor Layton and the Spectre's Call. Or is it Spectre's Flute for you guys?
I
thought the first Professor Layton one was Curious Village.
Release order,
It's like Star Wars, so
But,
chronologically
okay.
that's number 4.
I see. That makes more sense.
It's Layton. I know you guys aren't really big into it. I quite enjoyed it. Did everything I wanted it to. I think the puzzles overall were noticeably a little bit weaker, but not in a way that stopped me from enjoying the game overall. The story was pretty pish as well, but I sort of expected it. So that's what it is. Metroid Prime Pinball was the next one I played, and the only reason I got that was because I've had a morbid curiosity about the Rumble Pack that they put out for the DS for a few years now, and I finally managed to snag one for a price that I was happy to pay for it. It works, but it's weird. So you sort of feel the rumble, but it's sort of like having a wet fish inside the console, just sort of flopping around a little.
It's my favorite feeling.
The less said about that, the better. The game's alright though. It's pinball with Samus in it. It's not anything revolutionary. It's nice though. It's a good time waster. Then I beat the new Spider-Man game, which makes an amazing first impression, and then sort of peters off a little bit. The swinging is really, really good. So much more fluid than anything else Spider-Man has ever been in game-wise, and I think that's mainly because it gives you a lot more options. So as well as just sort of conventionally swinging around, you can hit the X button just to zip forward to get a little bit of extra momentum, and you can also sort of point launch and jump from point to point. So when you're above the buildings, you actually still have options to move around. The missions were probably what let it down. I think the sequel will be incredible if they can tighten the actual missions up, and if they get rid of the god-awful stealth sections, which bored me. I can't stand stealth sections in games. I can't think of a single one where it's not. Actually, I can one, and that's the Samus X sections in Metroid Fusion. But I'm not even sure if I'd call those stealth sections.
Yeah, they're a little basic, but technically, yeah.
Yeah, I think they do it right though, in the sense that they're very short pace changes. They serve a purpose, and they don't detract from whatever else is going on. Whereas I was genuinely frustrated whenever the game decided that it was time to stop having fun for a little bit and sneak a ginger through a museum.
Hey now. I was finally able to see myself in a video game.
Boobs and all. But the core is amazing. The combat's really, really good. And it was a solid, I think I gave it an 8 or... very happy I got it when I got it. Very happy I played it. Yeah.
So, I'm just gonna jump in here. I also beat Spider-Man, and I think it would be better just to like make a conversation out of it than like try to talk about it in two different disparate places.
Yeah, I like that.
I definitely agree with everything you said about like the web swinging and like the movement through the city. I enjoyed the hell out of that, and getting from point A to point B and just kind of like dicking around in various places. And I really liked the way that they handled those like almost achievement type things where if you move like a certain distance, it'll give you 1 extra or like 5 extra XP for something. I really liked the way that they handled those rewards because it showed you new ways to move. So even like 10 hours into the game, I was still figuring out new mechanics and faster ways to move, which I really enjoyed. I kind of have to disagree on the combat.
Did you not enjoy the combat?
Not really. From the beginning, I died a lot, and I think it was because I was expecting more of like Batman style combat or whatever.
Yeah.
Where this is much less punchy, and it's much more use your gadgets and just use all of your gadgets at once, basically.
It's much more improvisational, yeah.
Yeah. And I liked that aspect of it at first. Like, after I got through the first couple of hours where I was dying continually and I figured out, oh, there's a different way to approach combat, then I liked all of the experimenting and the improvising and stuff. But once I got towards the end of the game, and especially trying to, like, clear up the side missions and the crimes and all of those, like, wave battles that take place in the warehouses and stuff, at that point, I felt like I was just kind of doing wash, rinse, repeat type combat. So I would be surrounded by a couple of guys. I would use my same, like, I don't remember which power it was. I don't know if I had the electricity one on or if it was like the shockwave one or whatever. But I would use that. I would web down everybody who was on the ground. I would use my impact web to throw people against walls. And again, it's a lot of fun tools to use. But once I was just using them in this kind of in and out, in and out, in and out kind of pattern, then it sort of wore off on me.
Did you, out of curiosity, so you know when you are fighting the crime missions or you're doing those wave motions, did you sort of go out of your way much to meet the bonus objectives? So where it was like electrify 5 enemies at once, or get a 40-hit combo, or throw 5 enemies while in the air?
As often as I could, I would. But, like, for one thing, since the crimes themselves are, like, they fall into different categories of crime. So if you go into one district and you do the car crime and you get all 3 of the bonus things, then the next time you get a car crime, all of those 3 bonuses are already checked off for you. So there's no real incentive to do anything except what's fastest at that point.
Is that what that was? I thought it was just bugging out on me.
No, that's the way it works. Basically, if you complete the crime, then I think you get 1 crime token, and then you get an additional crime token for each one of those that you check off. But the next time you do that same crime, it doesn't give you another crime token if you've already done that criterion.
Right. Okay.
So after a while, I kind of started just ignoring them. Because, I mean, I had all of the upgrades I really needed to get my, platinum trophy. So I didn't really need to bother with any extra.
I mean, I definitely agree about the initial stages. I did the same as you in terms of approaching it, thinking it was going to be similar to Arkham, and dying quite a few times. Once you click into the way it's different and how much sort of movement and things like that it requires of you, I didn't find myself dying very often. That might just be a taste and preference thing, I don't know.
I mean, after I figured out I wasn't dying often, I was just more bugged about the fact that I wasn't really in danger of dying anymore. Because I had my strategy, basically, for any kind of situation that I would go into, and I could take out crimes in just a couple of seconds at that point. And it just felt like, why am I doing it other than getting, another check mark on my map completion?
Did you find the dodge frustrating at all?
At first I did, until I got some of the time dilation upgrades. which made it much more manageable. I did think that guns were supremely overpowered against you.
Yeah. I felt more so with the minor spoiler, the sort of super soldier aerial units towards the end of the game. I found immensely frustrating, so I'd tend to pick those off first. But I think what I liked about the enemies, although there weren't many variants, is that every single one had something different that you could do with them. So even with those ones, an impact web would screw them up. And if you got into the air and started jabbing them, actually they already sort of picked themselves off, because generally speaking there'll only be one or two. And you can jump between them and get rid of them without what you would have in ground game, which is having to sort of hold off everyone else while you're dealing with what you're dealing with. But I don't know.
But yeah, I think we can both agree that the stealth is bad.
Yeah, the stealth wasn't great. But I mean, overall, it's a good game, and it's definitely a good foundation for what I hope is going to be a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually thinking about buying that.
Definitely do. Do.
I might wait to get a used copy because money's a little tight right now, but I'm definitely considering it because it looks both fun and goofy at the same time. Like, it looks so bad in places that it would be fun, and then so good in others that it would make up for it.
Yeah, what I'd say is that it made me feel like I was playing the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 Spider-Man games. I don't know if you guys remember the one that came out for PS1 and I think PC.
Wasn't it supposed to be a remake of one of them?
No.
I don't think so.
Original.
Oh, okay, because I was under the impression that it was a remake of one of the ones on, I thought it was N64.
Oh yeah, it came out on that one too. I don't know. It's not a remake of that.
Okay. Because I've never played any of them before, so I guess I was under some wrong impressions.
But it felt very comic booky, and it felt like it gave me that same sense of joy that I think you get as a kid reading comic books.
It nails the character in a way that I don't think anything or anyone has since before Raimi. I think we're sort of agreeing on that, Kerf.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a shame that I don't know about in the US, but here buying a used copy would be cheaper. No, sorry, would be more expensive than what I paid to pre-order.
Really?
Yeah. So my pre-order was $47. There was a period about a month after it came out, obviously when it sold gangbusters, when used copies were going for $50. But it's well worth a play when you can get a hold. So Spidey's amazing. I think
the Amazing Spider-Man, you might even say.
Pardon?
The Amazing Spider-Man, you might even say.
I might not though.
You kind of just did.
Almost, but not quite. The next one I played was a game called the Red Strings Club. It's really good.
Yeah, I was going to say, that one always really looks interesting to me.
Yeah, if you haven't heard of it, it's, for you who are sat at home or on the train or wherever, it's from the same people who made Gods Will Be Watching. It's published, I believe, by Devolver, and it's a very similar game. So it's very much narrative driven. The gameplay consists of a very, very light drink making minigame. One other gameplay mechanic that I can't for the life of me remember. Oh, that was it. There's a single time sort of pottery making minigame that's not about pots at all. They're like memory implants, but it's and then one sort of single scenario at a point in the game where you, using voice modulator, have to sort of socially engineer your way into a system by ringing different people up and getting information and pretending to be other people. And that was the only source of frustration, because that piece of gameplay on its own as a thing was 10 out of 10. But it only lasts about 20 minutes. And the story's amazing, and I would definitely recommend it. But I don't know if I can recommend it at full price. And you might say it's a good thing. It does definitely sort of leave you wanting. But I really enjoyed it. Would definitely recommend it. Especially if it's something that looks interesting to you. I nearly didn't play it in the end because there was some sort of stuff in the reviews about things being preachy and not. And generally, I'm quite sensitive to that kind of thing. But I actually thought the story was phenomenally written. So I don't know where those criticisms come from. But if it looks interesting to you, I'd say definitely give it a go. 100%. Next one is, and I'm not sure if you remember me sort of gushing about the first game in this series, Box Boy. But I played its sequel, Box Boy. And it's double the fun, literally, because you can make 2 sets of blocks now instead of 1. And I recommend it just as highly as I do the first one. It is to my mind, the perfect puzzle game. Because it gives you just the right amount of challenge. There's so much flexibility in terms of the mechanics that they use. And the sequel just does more, but remembers sort of what was so good about the first game. And I've already bought the final game in the trilogy, and I'm really excited to play that when I get around.
Is it Box Boy?
No, it's not. It's Bye Box Boy.
Oh no. Where's he going?
I know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But yeah, they're on the 3DS. They're super cheap on the eShop. It's like a meal deal. We'll get you the game, sort of like £3 or £4, or dollars, or whatever your regional equivalent is. So that was great. The next one I beat, and I've seen quite a few people playing these games on the forums. The Rusty Lake series, the Cube Escape games. If either of you guys have seen sort of the posts around those on the.
I've seen the posts. I haven't looked into it though.
You definitely should. So the way the series works, there are 3 premium titles under the name Rusty Lake, Hotel, Roots, and Paradise. And then
we just lost Toast.
Sorry. For some reason my Discord just kind of crapped out. But also keep sneezing, and I was just like, I don't want to keep sneezing. And sorry.
Have you tried cutting off your nose?
Oh, I wish. But sadly, no. I kind of need it for various things.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
That'd probably do it.
Oh, I don't know if you guys had it there's a comedy show called The IT Crowd.
Oh yeah, it's on Netflix, I think.
Watch it; it's amazing.
I've seen a few episodes.
They're amazing. Have you seen the theatre episode?
No, I don't think so.
Without spoiling too much, it's first episode of series 2. If you do one thing this weekend, you have to watch this 25 episode. And so, have you watched any of it, Toast? Okay, so the concept is this lady, who computers or IT based, is hired to work as head of IT with 2 nerds who are really smart but completely socially inept. It's sort of like the Big Bang Theory in that sense, the way the dynamic works, but it's actually funny. And Jen, the female, is invited out on a date, and the 2 guys sort of invite themselves, and she spends the whole date trying to work out whether that is, because he's invited her to the theatre to go and see a gay musical called Gay about gay people in the 80s.
Honestly, I identify with that on a spiritual level. I have people who invite themselves to my date like every single time, so I get that. I can't remember the last time I laughed so hard. It's really, really, really good. Are we back on the recording?
Yeah.
We never stopped, did we?
Yeah, I never stopped.
I was telling you about Cube Escape games. So, alongside the 3 sort of main titles, which are all sort of a series of interconnected room escape type puzzles, there are a load of standalone single room escape games for free called Cube Escape. The concept being you're in a single cubic room, and they're all inspired sort of by Twin Peaks and David Cage, and they're all very surreal and interconnected. And the most recent one, called Cube Escape Paradise, came out about 2 weeks ago, and I beat that, and it's more of the same. The full price games are super cheap. If you want to sort of try before you buy, the single ones are all completely free. So you can either play them on your phone or on Flash while that still works. So they are all amazing. I technically beat sort of the 2 prologue chapters for Valhalla, but I almost feel a bit dirty counting those. And I'll talk about the full game in a second. You'll like this one, Kerf. I beat Kirby Triple Deluxe.
Hey!
I mean, I'm not completely over the moon about it. It was okay. But,
I mean, it's not as good as Robobot, but it is
which
still
I have
good.
also got, to be fair. It's on my list. I went on a bit of an eBay purchasing spree. So I got Triple Deluxe, Robobot, and I also got a copy of Superstar Ultra. So those second and third ones are sort of on my playlist at some point. But yeah, I mean, it's Kirby. The 3D is really nice. It never ran out of ideas, although you get bored at periods.
I feel like all Kirby games just kind of have, like, intended sections of boredom. And
but, you know, I never got that feeling with Mouse Attack.
With which one?
I think it's called Squeak Squad in the US.
Oh. I don't know if I've played that one.
It's good.
But, like, I don't know. Most times when I play Kirby games, I just reach that state of mindful boredom where I'm just kind of, like, pressing the buttons and I'm not necessarily thinking or even necessarily enjoying myself. But it's like a zen, tranquil experience. So
yeah, I get that with Rocket League. I'm with you.
I have that with Yoshi's Story also for N64.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is just a boring game, but I'd play it in a heartbeat.
Just something to do, sort of occupied.
Yeah.
This is kind of controversial, but I'm finding, because I just started Kingdom Hearts, I'm finding that that's kind of a mindful, boring game.
The first one?
Yeah, that sounds kind of harsh, but like I've never really been into Kingdom Hearts, and I'm playing it as a labor of love, but it's just kind of like I don't know. It's like a mind. It's not bad. It's like a pleasant, numbing, boring sensation.
I feel like that's more of an indictment than saying it's.
Well, I see what you're saying. I mean, how far are you in it right now?
Agrabah.
Agrabah? Yeah, I mean, I think that those, like... there are parts where I think it gets exciting, like if you're dealing with boss battles and stuff. I think those can really get the blood going. But I see what you're saying. Because I was just flashing back to, like, the Alice in Wonderland level.
Awful.
Where you have to, like, keep making things big and small, and it's like a maze and everything. And you're just getting lost.
It took 15 minutes to get through that area. It was just like they expected you to get lost to like pad out the time. It's just like that's not like
not good game design.
I don't know.
As a kid, I got lost in it.
Yeah.
It can't be any worse than 358 over 2 days.
That is boring by design.
That was my first one.
That was my first one as well.
It's weird because like my favorite character died or it went missing, and I don't want to say who it was or what.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The story, despite not knowing who any of them were because you don't have any to the story key good.
Yeah.
And for a DS game, it actually plays pretty bloody well. It's on my replay list. I can't remember why. I think I might have like some of them, but yeah. And then the final one that I've beaten since we last recorded. I'll make this quick because I'm sure neither of you will be bothered about this. So FIFA 17 had a single-player story campaign called The Journey, where you play as a young up-and-comer, and you sort of play as that one player through a season of football. So I played that. The dialogue choices and the story are pretty rubbish, but it's FIFA, and it plays like FIFA, and it was pretty fun in that respect. So I beat that. Would it be worth, because I feel like I'm sort of hogging it a little bit, if we all talk about our recently beats and then go on?
Yeah. Just to mix up the voices a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, Toast, are we flipping a coin or what?
I have mine all written down. So.
Okay.
Literally the day before we start, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I stopped playing stories. Did I talk about that?
I think you did, because you were saying you quit out and accidentally reset all your...
Yeah, that was not great. Okay.
It did tickle me.
So, literally an hour after we stopped recording, I finished Highway Blossoms, which was all right. It was one of the better Yuri that I've read, so, but it was still like American made and like kind of cheaply made, so it kind of like had it's like weird like cheap plastic kind of feeling to the game. I did do some like art of like the characters just because I thought that they were like interesting, but other than that I don't think that there's anything of note of that game. Just that it was like Yuri and it was there and it was American made visual novel. And then I finished another like an hour long visual novel. I think it was called Secret Agenda, which was actually pretty interesting. But it was it looks like it was 30 minutes, and so that I don't know if it was it was very short. It was probably not worth any money. It was just like a game.
How do you even like tell a full story in that amount of time?
It was like a synopsis of like a female spy on like one mission, and how she like it was like a day in the life essentially.
Ah, okay.
So were there any dialogue choices, or was it literally just sort of...
It was a kinetic novel, so there was no choices. Right. It was just like a story. I actually, weirdly enough, I prefer kinetic novels. I don't think that there's enough being made of them. But that's not what most people like, so there's not very many.
I think you can tell a better story that way sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I believe. I believe that, like, there's exceptions, like, there's really good visual novels where like they have a lot of choices and they make them matter, but like the majority, like Umineko and like Higurashi, they're all kinetic and they're all better because of it, because they don't have to like let the player do what they want.
Yeah.
I spent a day replaying and finishing Luigi's Mansion.
Oh hey, so did I.
It's very strange. I just got the urge, and then I don't have much follow through, but I guess that was one I followed through on, so I just finished that one.
Did you do the GameCube or 3DS?
The GameCube, because the 3DS one isn't out yet.
I was going to say that's next week, isn't it?
Yeah, that's next week.
I played it on 3DS and completed it.
Someone's hooked you up then, because it definitely
the
isn't
new
out
one?
yet.
Yeah.
Like the remake of the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't know that was out yet.
I swear it isn't. Who...
I played it.
Tried to get a hang of that?
It was through GameFly, unless they sent it to me a week early. 2 weeks early, as a matter of fact.
I swore it was not out yet, because I thought my friend had a pre-order on it. I
swear it's like the 26th it drops.
Luigi...
Which, as of recording, is like 3 days away.
Oh, no, he is right. It came out October 12th, which I should have known because...
It might be, I swear it's later here. Hang on.
Yeah, I guess you are right.
That sound you can hear is the silent fact-checking.
I mean, I know I'm right because I played it.
I'm not saying
it's nice It's nice to have the vindication.
I'm just in
Google.
the habit of fact checking everything now.
Yeah, that's fair. Hashtag fake news.
Well, no, just in general. But yeah, that too. And then the last one I finished since then is I finished the first half of EF, which I've been playing for months, and that's only the first half of it. So I have a bit to go. Well, it's separated into 2 different games.
Right, so you've completed the game, but it's only half of the story.
Yes.
Right.
So I'm playing the second one now. And I seem to like this one better because this one was translated later on, so I think that the translation's a lot better, and I'm finding myself enjoying this one a lot more. Not to say that the other one was bad, it was just very slow. And that's all I've done.
Alright. So I guess that means me.
Unless you want to bring Crazy Joe back, I don't know what he...
Well, I'm glad you asked, Ricky the Kid. Because you see, I've been playing a video game since the last episode was recorded. I ain't never played a video game before, but I tried it out.
So much better. Oh dear.
Now, back in my day, our video games were played in the dirt. And used to draw a box with a stick, and inside the box you did little stick figures, and the stick figures had a gun, and you had to draw the bullet, and you had to draw the bullet going into the other guy's head, and you just had to move really fast with that stick, so if you had good reflexes, you almost always won. It's kind of like dueling, pulling a pistol on your pa when he spanks your brother too hard, and you say, "Pa, you can't be doing that no more. I ain't gonna stand for it. He's my family. He's my kid just like he's yours."
You know what game the crazy Western dude would probably like?
Are you gonna say Red Dead Redemption?
Like West of Loathing.
Oh.
It's probably be his favorite game.
Oh, I've heard that name. What is that game?
It's the stick figure game about cowboys.
Oh, okay.
Was that an Adult Swim one? Or am I thinking of something else?
You're thinking of Westerado.
That's what I'm thinking of.
It was an asymmetric game, which I think that they've not done very much before. They've done, like, other stick figure games. Nope, they've just done that one. I take it back.
Alright, so Crazy Western Man, thank you for sharing your recent video game completions of dirt shooting. My completions, you're gonna be shocked. There are only 4 in the last month and a half.
Oh, wow.
So, I completed Yakuza Kiwami 2. With that, I did about 60 sub-stories. I completed the Majima bonus campaign, which is like 40 minutes long or something. And I also completed the Cabaret extended side quest thing. Basically, like, in the middle of the game, you randomly get approached on the street by these people who run a cabaret club, and they say, "Hey, do you want to run our cabaret club?" And because it's Kazuma Kiryu, he immediately says yes and agrees to it. And then there's like an entire 10-hour side quest where you're just basically doing a sim game, owning and operating this cabaret club, and finding out about friendship and what it means to be a hostess.
Through the power of cabaret.
The more I hear about the game, the more it sounds like not real. Like, not, like, I don't know.
They're too good to be real, honestly.
We don't deserve them.
They're too pure for this world.
I am quite keen to try that Fist of the North. So I'd like to try the gameplay without know any of the characters and all the rest of it. And it does look fun.
Those games are interesting because they're like a soap opera in the sense that if you jump into any particular game in the series, there are the same characters from the previous game or whatever, but everything just becomes so radically different that it doesn't really rely much on the continuity from the previous game. It just makes its continuity on the fly. Which makes it really nice for playing out of sequence, definitely. But it's also just crazy.
The more you know.
All right, I gave that one an 8 out of 10, and I very much loved it. Next, I already talked about this, so I won't really touch on it too much, but Spider-Man, I completed that at the end of last month, just a couple days before my birthday. So yeah, I'll move on from that.
Happy birthday to the both of you, by the way.
Yeah. We missed my birthday naturally. We missed your birthday because you just didn't say anything.
I'm just humble like that.
Okay. So the next one is Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valencia. I finally finished that one. That's definitely the kind of game where my enjoyment of it went steadily downward the further I got into the game. It also ended way before I thought it was going to end. It was surprisingly short for what it was.
What was your playtime then in the end?
My playtime is a little inflated because, like I mentioned, I had to start.
Grind, yeah.
It's a grind, and two, I think I mentioned I had to start over
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the third act, which is 3/5 of the way through the game. So that was fun. So my total time was about 49 hours. So if you think about half of that being replay time.
Yeah, you could extrapolate that to sort of like 30.
Yeah, and in the original game, about 20 hours was average completion time. So yeah, it's not a super long game in comparison to other Fire Emblem titles.
Yeah.
I was going to say Awakening's like 100 plus, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the thing about this one was it was originally a Super Nintendo game, so a Nintendo game. So there was a limit on how big the cartridge could be. So there was a limit on how many maps it could hold and how much data. So it wasn't like it was a huge game.
Mm.
So yeah, the further I went through the game, I progressively liked it a little bit less and less and less. By the end, when it's just those like 2 really long dungeons that you have to grind through, the first of which you have to go all the way from the beginning all the way to the end. There are no save points in between, and there are a lot of high-level bosses. So unless you've done some min-maxing, like I did a little bit of, then you might be in the stew with it. You also, in most of the maps, you have your entire army with you, but when you go into dungeons, you can only take 10. So it was weird that for those final dungeons, you had to just choose 10 on both sides, and for the final level, you have to choose 10 pulling from both armies at once, which basically means you're just taking all of your Pegasus Knights with you and hoping.
I was
going to
say that's good in a way, isn't it? Because it sort of avoids. It's better than the other way around, where you sort of have to get enough good people together.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The frustration is that some of the character builds are so much better than others. So like your Pegasus Knights and your Dread Fighters are pretty much your top tier units.
Right.
But they don't entirely cover all of the tools that you would necessarily want to have going into the final maps.
Yeah.
So like I had to start the final map over a couple of times because I wanted to bring archers in with me just to have my distance battle covered, but they kept dying, so I had to keep restarting. So yeah, a little bit frustrating on that end, that you do have to do so much sieving. I don't know if that's a word, but sieving your armies.
Sieving.
I think we say sieve over here.
I think you say it wrong.
As far like what seething as in angry or sieving as in like.
So sieving. So like pouring things into a sieve, filtering them out.
Sieve.
Yeah. This okay.
Like pasta.
I actually don't know because I've heard it pronounced both ways. I think it's sieve though. Like you sieve. Well, I think the noun is sieve, and then the adjective. I don't think it is a verb. I don't think you can like verb it.
You can verb anything. You can verb anything and you can noun anything. That's what I've learned in my life. Anyway, that's all I really have to say. I was just bummed that you had to be so choosy at the end after a full game where you could just walk into any situation with everybody at your heels. And finally, I played and beat Megaman 11.
Ooh, thoughts?
I liked it. I don't know if I loved it. I would say it falls somewhere around like Mega Man 7 in terms of quality and level of fun. The levels were, one, way too long. Just way too long. The checkpoints were spread way too far apart. And I'm normally pretty good at Mega Man. I mean, I'll die frequently, but even if I have to start a level over, it doesn't feel like so much of a loss because the levels are short enough that I feel like I can get through them and I'm learning and I'm progressing. Whereas with these levels, I felt like I wasn't making much progress every time I got a game over. So if I would get to the boss battle and I would die to the boss battle, I would just feel annoyed that I would have to go through an entire difficult, long level again to get to that point just to have a chance to practice on the boss again, to learn its, techniques and stuff. So that was frustrating. It's also weird simultaneously because there are multiple difficulties, but even within each difficulty, you can kind of choose how difficult you want it to be. So if you choose to buy more lives at the store, and if you buy energy tanks, and if you buy all the upgrades, then it honestly becomes a cakewalk. So for the first 8 Robot Masters, I was trying to avoid buying things as much as possible, except the ones where I just really could not see a way to move forward without them. But as soon as I got to the final Wily stages, then I was thinking, okay, this is going to be a real gauntlet, so I'm just going to stock up on everything and just hope for the best, cross my fingers, and maybe I'll get through it. But once you're stocked up on all the items, it's a breeze. And any boss that you encounter, you can go into with 9 energy tanks. That's 9 full health refills. And I think at most, I only had to use 1 or 2 on any given boss at the end. So again, like, I could have taken the route of not using those items, and it would have been much more difficult. But I don't know, it feels like there should be a middle ground for the player, and then I'm not sure that I found that middle ground. Or that it should be my responsibility to find that middle ground as a player.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
I'm really glad that the game exists, though. Just throwing that out there. I'm glad to have a new Mega Man game. Anyway.
Yeah. How did you feel about 9 and 10? Because I know there was going back to the very, very old style.
I enjoyed them. I definitely enjoyed 9 more than I enjoyed 10. 10 just felt like ideas without execution. 9 felt like it had both. It felt like it had a vision, and it had kind of the gameplay chops to back it up.
Yeah, I suppose it's more novel with 9 as well.
Yeah.
It was a fresh take. It's weird with the Mega Man games, I've never been able to get the main, but the ZX ones and Zeros really enjoyed. So.
Anyway, those are all my completions.
The sound design on Mega Man 11 wasn't very good either.
Yeah, the music was nothing to write home about. I didn't actually notice because I had like podcasts and other music on in the background to kind of take the place of it. It is disappointing compared to the other Mega Man games, though, which have amazing music.
I don't think I've ever played any of the other ones, so... And I don't think I've really even, like, played this one, I just tried it. And that was what struck with me, is that it was like, isn't Mega Man supposed to have good music? And it didn't.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. That should have been one of the things that they were really gunning for. It's like with Sonic the Hedgehog games. Like, even if the quality of the game isn't good, they always have pretty good music.
Even when, you mean?
Huh?
Even when the quality of the game isn't good.
What did I say?
It was a joke.
Oh.
I'm saying it's not a question of if there's going to be quality.
It's like, oh, there's no good Sonic games.
Hey, Sonic Mania was great.
Facetious.
Still haven't played Sonic Mania. It might well be good. I can't think of a good Sonic game I've played. How about
The adventure ones are pretty good.
Adventure ones are good, yeah.
See,
And
I
the one
enjoyed...
with the Chaos Garden.
I enjoyed 2 until... Do you know what, actually? I tell a lie, because I really enjoyed Sonic... I thought that was very good. That's what I played. The Rush games are okay. Dark Brotherhood's ass. Worst thing Bioware I've ever shit out.
Generations was good. Thinking of another more recent one.
I've heard good things about Generations. I've never been that bothered about Sonic though. Yeah.
Sonic was my obsession in middle school. I had a series of YouTube videos where I had these little Sonic figures, and I like recorded myself like making little stories with them and crap.
Where do we find these?
Oh.
It's weird because Sonic was my obsession in like elementary school. Like I was super big into him in elementary school.
Maybe my Sonic phase is yet to come.
Yeah, I guess so you just have to take it like one step farther.
You'll know when your phase hits when you are creating Sonic OCs and giving them like ability points and drawing them out.
Sonic OCs weren't a thing when I was that young.
Well, I'm not artistic enough to make an OC, so I think I'm safe. Maybe. Hopefully.
You don't have to be artistic. Have you seen some of them?
Very true.
Let me see if I have mine. I pulled it out recently. I can see if I have it.
It was only a few weeks ago I was reading about this channel. Poor guy. So, just for those of you at home, Kerf has gone to the back of his room, he's shuffling through his paper, and he's come back with what looks far too much like a manuscript to be able to...
Yeah.
I don't think you guys are ready for this.
I'm probably not.
Let's see if it even shows up on the screen. Let's see.
Let me maximize that. Oh, it is actually a character as well. Hang on, leave it there. Sonic Team's or Archie's portrayal of... Is your character based on Sonic Team's portrayal of Sonic something is Archie inspired? Guidelines are much more loose with their character system. What is the document?
What is this?
So this is
this what you've been teaching? Are you doing like Sonic OC 101?
You got me. That's why they pay me the big bucks at George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia. I teach Sonic OC 101.
Okay.
I have the highest rating on Rate My Professors as far as Sonic OC professors go.
Could be worse though. Jokes aside, in India they teach a module a law on Harry Potter and
this is actually it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a 9-page document that I was given by a friend in middle school that is telling you how to create your Sonic OC. With an intense description of every category. There is a paragraph about how to choose your character's weight.
That is inane.
There are sections for social class and economic class.
I have no clue how to respond to that.
I kind of want to read it.
And I don't know what to do with this knowledge now that I've been given it.
Can you, like, legit scan it in and send it to?
Yeah, I probably could. Oh, there's a theme song section.
Oh, of course there is.
I don't think I ever made a theme song.
Where does it tell you about recolors? This is why we never stick to it. We were talking about the games and now we're talking about Sonic 0. And I don't know how.
There's a marital status. You have to know that about your Sonic OC. You have to know if they're married or not.
Whether or not you
Well, you can't tie Frenzy down, so I bet he's not married.
Whoa.
For as cute as he is, I really wanted him to be an edgy anti-hero. Actually, let me just read this to you guys. I think you'll enjoy this.
Gosh.
His name is Frenzy. His nickname is Tornado. His age is 13. Do you want to guess how?
His name's longer than his actual name.
Do you want to guess how old I was when I made this character sheet?
I'm gonna guess 13.
Ding ding ding. His species is ferret. His gender is male. His height is 3'9". His weight, I thought about this in depth, is 68 pounds.
Wait, why was he a ferret?
I don't know.
Did you like ferrets at the?
Guess what?
Actually, my cousin had just gotten a ferret at that time, I believe. So I think I was very interested in
because that's so
rodentology.
Weird. They're expensive, you know. Like they're really expensive.
They're smelly too.
Well, yeah, my best friend has one.
They smell dead even when they're alive.
Damn.
His IQ, oh, this is good. His IQ is 130.
Holy, so like, wait. Oh my gosh, I can't do this.
He's a genius, is what he is. His marital status, unmarried. Date of birth, August 19th. No year, but then again, this is a different world, so who knows? Maybe they have a different reckoning than we do. Birthplace, oh no, wait, it's not a different world. He was born in Atlanta, Georgia.
Is that where you were born?
No.
No,
Not even close. Residence.
Not even close.
Alright, so he was born in Atlanta, Georgia, but his residence is the Green Hill Zone.
Oh no.
Oh, this is good. Occupation, secret FBI agent.
Oh gosh.
Oh, social class and economic class, these are good. Somehow social class, I put this as popular smart guy. Because that's a social class. Economic class, he's lower class though, so he's upward bound.
Oh, so he's got like a tragic backstory, I see.
Well, we'll see. I don't remember, but we'll find out soon enough. His alignment, he doesn't take sides, but if need be, he's dark.
Oh, jeez.
His top
He
speed...
doesn't take sides except when he...
His top speed is 170 miles per hour. Let's see. He has special attacks. The only one of note on here is what I called Black Storm. I don't know what that means, but he has it. Abilities and aptitudes. He can create tornadoes and control the wind currents with his dual samurai blades. His hobbies and talents include skateboarding, making inventions, and causing tornadoes at trailer parks.
I want to know more about the samurai blade.
Under the section for weaknesses, I put, he has no weaknesses. Let's see, what's on the next page? His favorite activity is making inventions in his laboratory. His least favorite activities are fighting Sonic and Silver because he actually just wants to be friends.
Aww.
His gourmet of choice is tacos. His beverage of choice...
Gourmet.
His beverage of choice is Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
I was expecting something a little bit more edgy, like the blood of like...
Oh no, the next one is
or something
edgy.
like that.
The next one's edgy. His personality. Usually happy, but provoke him too much, and you'll end up with at least 3 broken bones.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, so
I'm
don't-
gonna cut myself on that edge.
Don't fuck with Frenzy. Let's see.
That's the title of this episode.
That's all I got. That's all that's relevant.
I feel like at least half of that was not relevant, but I'm like, I'm so happy you shared.
So Rick, I think it's your turn.
We have 30 minutes before we were supposed to stop.
Damn you, Sonicos. Fuck's sake, right, okay, what am I playing? Let's get this back on track. So, I am playing 3.5 games. All will become clear. First thing I'm playing is Valhalla VA11 A, the waifu bartending simulator.
Do you like it?
I love it. I really like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, I really, really want it. I think I might have bought it. Who knows?
It's good.
It's good though.
Where did I put it? I got the...
Oh, he's coming back.
Oh.
Pardon?
It was just like, oh, you left.
Yeah, because I wanted to share. This won't translate over to the podcast anyway, but I got like the...
Oh, you got a physical edition.
Yeah, but I also couldn't wait, so I also bought it digitally.
Nothing wrong with that, I guess.
But yeah, it's super good. It's a little bit like the Red Strings Club in that the point of it isn't really the gameplay, the point of it is the story. But the story's great, the writing's really good, and the art is just something else. Like, it looks really, really good. I'm playing it on Vita, which it's not really complex in terms of controls. I think it works pretty well whatever you're playing it on. I think it's on PS4 and PC as well. It'll probably work on phones too if it... I don't know if they've ported it to it. If they haven't, they should, because it'll work quite... But yeah, it's really, really good. So if you like the look of it, I'm playing Pyre, so the latest game from Supergiant, which I'm really, really enjoying. I think we talked about it a few episodes back. I think you were saying you refunded it.
I did. It was not what I was expecting. That doesn't mean it wasn't a good game. It's just not what I was expecting at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely something else. And if you do get it, I would definitely, for those of you at home, recommend sort of having a fiddle about with the control setting, because the defaults aren't very good. I think the default assumes that you games like LoL, where you're sort of clicking where you want the character to go with your mouse, which I'm not sort of accustomed to doing as a control scheme. But the game's great. It's sort of like a weird mythical basketball RPG, which there's no better way of describing it. Without spoiling too much, the game centers around the performance of so-called Wrights, and those essentially involve teams of 3 going against to get a ball into the pyre at the other side of the field, and it's a bit like capture the flag in that sense, but in reverse. So you need to get the ball to their pyre, and every time you get into it, you do damage, and the first person, the team whose flame is not extinguished, wins. But you sort of get to know the characters, movesets and abilities and affinities. It's just really good. It's genuinely a 10 out of 10 game. And if you've liked anything of Supergiant's output, it's worth a look. Even though it's sort of gameplay-wise doesn't share all that. But the art's fantastic again. The music by Darren surpasses, I think, what he did in Bastion and then again in Transition, which those soundtracks are both brilliant as well. But excuse me, Pyres is something else. And then the last full game I'm playing properly is Nier Automata. It's great. Everything you've heard about it is true. It's really good. Graphics are amazing. Combat feels awesome. And the half game I'm playing is still Phoenix Wright. So I finished the tutorial. I'm in sort of the start of the first case. I've just met the character that's related, without giving anything away.
Wait, say that again?
Don't give anything away because you cut out. So it's fine.
There you go. I was saying I've just met the character who's related to the deceased first. which that shocked me a little bit. That caught me out because I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm. It's big for the second case in the game to
First
drop that
proper.
on you. Yeah,
I mean, it sort of makes sense looking back. It's a similar twist. The way Danganronpa did it in the first game, obligatory reference, where you get close to a character, and it's clearly playing it that way, and then I suppose if you've played Danganronpa, I've sort of spoiled the stuff, where it sort of lulls you into the character, gives you a bit of a connection, and then snatches away from it so early on. But I like it. It definitely jolts you. I thought it was a good kicking off point, and I think I actually might try and put a bit more effort in.
Yeah, there you go.
It's decent. Yeah, there you go. Only took me 2 or 3 months. But
I really like a lot of that case as it plays out in terms of like story development, but I do think that it kind of ends in a cop out. So just keep that in mind and
definitely.
Don't hold it against it too badly.
Or
I'll do my best.
and we can be as one. I don't know.
Become as
A
gods.
better way to put that. I was like, I don't know.
We can assimilate. Speaking of Danganronpa, I've just ordered V3, so
Hey!
that'll be on my list of things to play soon as well.
I am going to be very excited to hear your progression through that.
Go on. Is that just generally, or
No, this is generally. I am excited to monitor your progress.
yeah? I'm glad I took a bit of a break after finishing 2. I'm glad I didn't rush out to come out, because I think by the end of 2 I was sort of a bit fatigued with it. And that's not to say I didn't enjoy 2. I really. I think it's more that it takes something out of you, the stupidity that goes with it. And I made the mistake of starting 2 almost straight after I finished Spare Girls, which has that story and also has an full knockoff Resident gameplay.
It's good to give a break, especially since I don't know if they're going to make another one, so you don't want to play it and then have, like, nothing after that.
I mean, you may not have any more Danganronpa, but they are making Danganronpa with 12-year-olds now, so...
Isn't it so
What?
weird? Because I mentioned before that the person who wrote some of the scenarios for 999 also wrote some of the scenarios for the Ever 17, and it looks like it's pretty much going to be Ever 17, but with like Danganronpa character art.
So is that what they're now sort of looking to? Oh, is this Death March Club?
Is that what it's
Is that what
called?
it's called?
Maybe?
Is it 2 members from the Danganronpa 0?
Yeah.
New title, see that with no children game of life. To be fair, that's all either of the team. I mean, that's all they've ever done. But I dig.
So there will be more Danganronpa, it'll just be under a different name.
Yeah.
It won't be written the same way.
No, that's true. It'll be.
It's going to be the art from Danganronpa, and then the story from Dude, which is weird because I always liked the story better in Danganronpa, and then I always thought the art was better in the other one. So I wish they would have reversed it, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
I liked the art in 9-9. I think they sort of lost a lot of the spark in Zero Time Dilemma, especially the last one. I thought the 3D models, they didn't have the budget.
I never played that one.
You didn't finish?
Mm-mm. I've never even finished the DS one. I got like a little bit into it and then I never finished it. Just because I couldn't decide whether to play it in English or Japanese. Because it was weird because everybody kept telling me English and then I couldn't get past 5 minutes. And then I just felt like I was missing out playing it in Japanese. So I was undecided and then I quit.
I know you were more of a stickler for that kind of thing than I think
Voice
me or
acting
Kerf.
means a great deal to me.
I mean, I thought the English was perfectly serviceable, obviously having no knowledge of the Japanese. I would say if you do go back to it, and I think even if you don't play the others, play 999 through, because I think it's in its own right as a standalone.
I played 999. I completed 999.
What are you
I didn't play
about?
the other 3DS one.
Virtue's Last Reward.
Virtue's Last Reward. I never finished that one.
Which, it's a weird one because that series, as the puzzles got better and better, the story got worse. And I think Virtue's Last Reward sort of struck perfect ground in good story and good puzzles. It's definitely worth going back to. Zero Time Dilemma, I think, sort of read a wiki and not have missed too much.
I still think it's worth playing. I think there's some interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think a lot of it has to do with like the cinematography of it, which is a weird thing to apply to video games, but it's just that there's nothing very interesting that happens visually in the game, which
and
makes
there's a
you
lot of
see
ways that it pulls you out.
Yeah, it makes you see the other flaws much more acutely.
I would have liked it a lot more with just 999 style static and sort of descriptions of what's happened. I think we're in agreement on that, in that it loses a lot in trying to be more ambitious in that. But yeah.
All right, was that all you're currently playing, Rick?
Yeah. Besides Rocket League,
but you're always playing Rocket League.
But it's great, and now they've done this Battle Pass thing, and I was an idiot. So I've sort of been playing on the reg to make sure that winds up in a month's time. It's good. I'm enjoying it. I'm nearly back in. I'm like in. The ranks go bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, champion, and then right at the top, champion. And I am in 2v2s and 3v3s. I am in diamond 3, so I'm on the cusp of champion.
Ooh, that's good.
Also, recently they've... Yeah, me. I'm in like the 1%. Also, they've started doing competitive leagues for like bonus modes. So the ice hockey version, 2v2 basketball, and all the rest of it, they now have competitive lobbies rather than just casual ranks where people jump in and out. So they're a lot more fun to play as well. Especially the ice hockey. The ice hockey is weird because the puck doesn't behave how you expect it at all. But yeah, that's me.
All right, you're up, Toast.
Okay, I might have it written down. Otherwise, I don't think I'll remember. Please don't. You can go ahead if you want. Okay. I am playing, actually playing, Kingdom Hearts, which I think I've already probably mentioned, enough.
Which version? Is that on one of the collections?
I'm playing the... Okay, so I'm really lazy, and I have, my PS4 hooked up to my computer, so that I'll click a button, and it'll automatically go to Kingdom Hearts, which is the only way I'll play it. Otherwise, I will not touch it.
So, just to clarify, it's on PS4?
Yeah, it's PS4, right. And it's the collection with, I think there's 6 games on it.
Oh, is it the 1.5 and 2.5?
Nick bought
on PS4
all of them. He is a sucker. So he bought... Oh, sorry, Nick. He bought, the original collection, and then he got really mad because they came out with, the more, and he's just I already bought them, and then he bought them again. And
they're about to come out with the more. Did you know how on PS4 there's...
2.5.
And then there's 2.8, which has got, essentially the Kingdom Hearts 3 prequel, and, a summary of the stupid online game that was only available in Japan. But now they're bringing those onto one disc in Kingdom Hearts The Story So Far collection, which they're now selling ahead of 3 coming out in January.
He already had the one with... It was a Japanese cutscene that got cut. One of them already has it on it.
That's 2.8.
Yes.
So what they're essentially doing is putting 2.8 and 1.5 plus 2.8 all onto a single disc and then selling that.
Oh, really?
Really? It's Square Enix. We should know.
Those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's enough that needs to be said about Kingdom Hearts. I'm playing Voodoo Vince as well, which, like, I'm...
The remaster?
Yeah, I'm disappointed. Like, I don't know. I didn't... Like, it's no Shakespeare. Like, I knew that going into it. But, like...
You're telling me that Voodoo Vince isn't the pinnacle of English language gaming literature?
I'm just, like...
Should I compare thee to a summer's Pinball?
I didn't expect it to be like very good or very like verbose or anything like that. But like I played it when I was a kid, so I expected it to be like I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed.
Hang on, I'm just.
And I was really like I loved it as a kid, and I honestly looking at it now, I'm like I don't really know why. But I have, I think, half of the achievements, and I'll probably get them all, because none of them stand out as... Like, there are a few that seem more tedious than the others, but, like, since there's only one or two that are more tedious, I might as well just get them all. So, I guess I'm getting all the achievements, and I'll just say it's done when I get that, but... I don't know, it's just like, oh, I didn't expect this. I expected it to be kind of weird and nostalgic, but it's just kind of like... bumming me out.
I didn't know what Voodoo Vince was. I've just YouTubed it, and you were saying like you thought it was going to be nostalgic, but it wasn't. I bet it is nostalgic to watch because it looks like a real throwback watching it, but I bet it plays like...
You know, it doesn't even play that badly, actually. It's just that I have weird like sensitivity. Like I get motion sick very easily, and I'm also very sensitive to color palette. And the color palette that's in the game seems to make me very ill very quickly. And I didn't remember how pukey it looked when I was younger.
But do you know... Sorry, go on.
Yeah. I'm looking at it, like, when I play it, I look at it and I'm like, this is not a pretty game, and it's making me very sick.
Do you know what it is about the palette that tweaks you out?
I don't know. Ed, Edd and Eddy does the same thing. Like, people really, really like that show, and I always remember very ill from it.
What show?
Ed, Edd and Eddy. Ed, Edd and Eddy? Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, everybody knows Ed, Edd and Eddy.
It's just the way you said it, it sounded like a Ed and Eddy. It didn't sound like the title of the show that you're saying.
Well, I'm really stuffed up, so everything sounds a little weird.
What about the pier? Don't worry, I'm messing.
Okay, and then I am going to I'm still playing Shenmue, but I've didn't have as much time for it right now. And I have been playing Yoku's Island Express.
Hey!
I like it. I like it a lot. Parts are more rage-inducing than I thought that they would be. I thought it was gonna be really easy, but I am not very good at pinball, at all. And it makes me angry. And it's so cute that it makes me angrier. It's just so, I hate it.
It is weirdly very touchy, and, specific in certain angles that you have to hit, and you have to hit them, multiple times in a row. So
and
I
some
get
of them
that.
Are time sensitive.
Yeah.
And it's just please spare me. I can't do this. And then sometimes you don't have enough money to unlock shortcuts. So you have to go through that area again, and you'll be like, I don't want this. This was worse. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. But that's okay. And then another minor annoyance, which is also really cool, but I got all the achievements for A Hat in Time. And then they came out with a new update, which is really, really awesome. But now I don't have it 100%ed, and I don't have any friends to play with because Nick says it's super lame and he's not gonna play with me. I don't have anyone to play Hat in Time with, so I can't get the stupid co-op achievements because nobody wants to play with me.
Co-op achievements have a special...
Yeah, they have a special place in hell.
Also...
If you wait until my winter break begins, then I would be happy to co-op with you. But until that happens, I am kind of dead inside.
It's not my kind of game, so it's a hard pass from me. But
it is super good, though.
I will take your word for it. But also, like, fuck games that when they bring out they add extra achievements.
Oh no!
Expansions.
Oh, Nick privately messaged me and is just like, "Stop talking shit."
Fight me IRL. Oh dear.
Alright, is that your last one, Toast? On you're currently playing?
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Then it comes down to moi.
You channeled a little bit of Arnie at the end then. I'm talking mwah.
So as always, the one that is always sitting at the bottom of my list is Breath of the Wild, which I haven't touched in a couple of weeks, but I'm still slowly going through the DLC, the like Ballad of the Hero or whatever. I think I've completed 2 out of, I think there's 4 of the regions you have to return to. So about halfway done with those. And once I'm done with those, then I still have a significant portion of side quests and other things to do. So not even close, but eventually I will make progress. Yeah, that's the word for it. Next, still on my currently playing from a while ago is Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. I have not started the last case in that game, but I have completed everything up to the last case, so the first 4 are done. I'm really enjoying my replay of this. It's been, again, here a couple of weeks since I've touched it, but I think now I appreciate this one the most. I think I kind of went through this when I was a kid. I think I blitzed through it too fast and I didn't really get to appreciate everything. But there's some pretty good emotional storytelling in there, especially with the flashback cases in the first and the fourth trials. So I'm excited because a lot of people hold up the final case in this game as like the best case in the whole series. So we'll see. I remember some of the plot beats from it, but not in enough detail to feel like it'll just be a rehash. So I'm excited to re-experience that again. And then the only other thing to add here is a rental of Valkyria Chronicles 4, the new entry in the Valkyria Chronicles series. This is... So I've played and I've beaten the first Valkyria Chronicles, which is, you know, a classic. I never played the second one. I played Valkyria Revolution for like 20 minutes, and it was god-awful, so I got rid of that right quick. But this one definitely feels like a return to form. It's very much, at least in the battle and a half that I've played, in the same mode as the first Valkyria Chronicles game. It's all the same classes, the movement is the same, the abilities that activate are still fun to figure out how to use them and stuff.
I take it if you didn't play the second, you didn't play the...
Well, the third one's Valkyria Revolution, right?
No.
Wait.
Revolution is like it was supposed to be a side story. There was another sequel on PSP. That was...
was there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a fan translation floating around, but it never got an...
So no, I have not played it. But yeah, I mean, time will tell if it remains interesting. I will say that for as far in as I am, I'm not feeling gripped by the characters yet. And again, this is only a battle and a half, so it's probably I just haven't had an opportunity to get them to know them very well. But the cast in the first Valkyria Chronicles, I felt kind of immediately bonded to. So I'm hoping that the character writing will play out a little bit better than it has so far.
Ooh, I was going to ask you, because you didn't really say too much about it before. You said you'd beat the remake of Luigi's Mansion.
Oh, yeah. I did forget to mention that. I guess I didn't even add it to my completions. That's weird.
Well, it's probably quite recent that you finished it. But the reason I asked is I've got Dark waiting on my shelf. And I'm curious whether I should just play the first one on, or whether sort of it does enough on 3DS to play through.
Wait, so you're asking if you should play it on GameCube or on 3DS?
I suppose, yeah.
Oh, okay.
In a roundabout way.
I feel like the controller on the GameCube gives you a better way of controlling it if you're using the nub on the 3DS.
The nipple.
Yeah, the nipple. Also, like, there's tilt controls on it, so you have to, like, move the vacuum and the flashlight up and down and stuff. And I don't know, I think that's just a little annoying to have to constantly be doing just the up and down.
Can you turn it up?
Maybe you can. I'm not sure. I never actually checked. But it was fine. I think either way that you play it is going to be an acceptable way of going about it.
Okay, so the 3DS version doesn't sort of add anything?
No. I mean, the only thing it adds is there's this random cutscene where they give you Gooigi, who is like an ectoplasm clone of Luigi who you can use in co-op or something. Okay. I never used it, and you never notice him. He's just standing in the back of certain cutscenes. So, yeah. Weird. Didn't necessarily need to be there, but doesn't impinge in any way. So
the GameCube version has aged really well. It's very strange that they didn't add anything, because originally Shigeru Miyamoto wanted it to be in 3D. Like he it was only because of budget limitations and like hardware limitations that he didn't make the original 3D. But it's sad that they never utilized it, because like for something that he wanted, it was such a like inferior like change. It didn't make a difference, I guess.
Why is the 3D port not in 3D?
No, it is. It's just that I don't think it adds anything, and like it was something he always wanted. Like he loves Luigi's Mansion, and he always wanted the game to be 3D.
Yeah,
but I don't think that it really matters.
I remember reading they'd sort of like tested shipping them out with sort of films that would go over the TV to do the particular. I can't remember where I read it, but apparently they were testing. Like you said, they wanted to do 3D for ages. They had a Game Boy Advance prototype with it, but because the pixel count was so low, it just was ass.
I don't think 3D games are all that great anyway. It's fine.
I quite like the 3D. I know I'm a little bit unusual in that, but I do think it adds something in a lot of scenarios.
But a good game is going to be a good game no matter what.
Yeah. The 3D isn't something that makes a bad game, where if you took it, the game wouldn't be amazing. Maybe the one exception is Mario 3. Like, the platforming is noticeably switched off.
Hey, Kerf, on your end, can you hear him okay?
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit.
Okay, because on my end, it's like every other word he's cutting out, and it's getting very hard to follow the conversation because of it.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
No, it's alright. I'll repeat myself. That sounded really sassy. It wasn't me. I was being I was saying that I was agreeing with you in that, like, 3D doesn't make the game, and the game isn't going to be a bad game just because you remove. And I was saying that I think the one exception, if I'm still making sense and still following here what I'm saying, is Super Mario 3D, where the platforming is noticeably difficult with the 3D switched off.
Okay. Because of the spatial recognition between, like, distances?
Yeah, and some of the levels are designed with the assumption that you'll have that 3D. And there are platforms, I don't really know how to describe it, but the map is laid out in such a way that it is reliant upon you having that depth perception.
Yeah, I think if I'm remembering correctly, aren't there parts where if you have the 3D turned off, it just looks flat? But if you turn on the 3D, then you realize which ones you can actually jump on.
There are a couple of areas like that. They sort of... that was what I had in mind, but there is that as well. I don't know if there's a good way to describe it, but there are areas you need the depth perception to be able to do the platform. It's the best way I can put it.
All right.
But yeah.
So now, technically, we wanted to do host segments and answer a question from the forums, but do you guys want to just call it?
I mean, we can spare 5 minutes a host segment and then call it.
I don't know if I actually had anything prepared, but if you want to... You look like you're dying to give a recommendation.
Dying. Slowly, inexorably.
Old age... Or, wait, what was it? I think it's... No, old age is the one disease you don't look forward to being cured of.
Yeah. Careful you don't cut yourself on that edge.
No, it's from Citizen Kane.
Is it?
I just thought it was like a really nice quote.
Citizen Kane, a movie for edgelords.
It is not. It's a very fantastic
I was joking.
movie. You little bitch.
I was joking.
I mean, if it's any consolation, I do have 3 potential recommendations. Can make it. I will cover for you both. That's what I'm saying.
No, I have a recommendation too.
You don't have a recommendation. I have
No, I have a
fresh out the toaster.
Fresh.
Like Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, certified fresh.
Oh dear. So my recommendations. I'll do a double header then. I'll save one. The first recommendation is BoJack Horseman.
Oh, so good.
The new series is dope, isn't it?
Oh, it's so good. It's always been very, very good.
Yeah. I almost gave up on it when I first watched this episode. It didn't grab me. And one of my friends who'd started a little bit before I did said, no, just give it one more try. You will love it. And I love it.
Literally, that's how it's been for everybody I know who loves the series, is they gave up on it, came back, loved it. It's so strange. It's a very interesting phenomenon. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even want to say too much about it. One, because I think it defies expectation and description in a number of... And 2, because I don't want to spoil anything, because so much of the humour is sort of little things that you pick up. Little animal puns, sort of wordplay. Have you watched it, Kerf?
I have. I haven't seen the most recent season.
Yeah, I haven't seen... I think I've seen 2 episodes of the most recent season.
The most recent season is arguably...
Season 6, I believe it is, or is it season 5? 5, okay.
So yeah, go and watch that. They're like 30-minute episodes, so each season is like what in a concerted evening. If you want to binge it, or maybe split.
Unhealthy people, because as you know, binging is shouldn't be the norm, even though it is.
I mean,
I have a friend who is writing a research essay about the dangers of binge culture. It's a very compelling argument.
I mean, that's related to alcohol and drugs. I get that.
But I mean, like, think about this. I mean, the last time that you binge watched anything, like, how much of it did you even retain afterwards? Yeah,
that was what I was saying. Is memory absorption is really poor for it. Because they say that if you watch 1 episode a week, you're more likely to retain... I say they, but I could actually find sources. Usually when people say they, they're bullshitting. I'm not bullshitting. I can find sources.
No, I've seen the stuff that you referenced.
But you remember far more if you watch less of something, like in 1-hour segments, than if you watch in 3 or more hour segments, which I find to be true.
Radical idea. If you know you like the show, binge it every time, and you'll enjoy it more the second time. You don't really remember. See? Don't think harder, think smarter.
But it is one of those series that could probably be binged. I usually leave it on as background noise.
I think if you do that, though, you miss so many of the...
Not if you watch it like 5 times.
Well, maybe not. So, that's recommendation number 1. Go and watch it. My other recommendation is one of my favourite games of all that I'm currently replaying, which is Soul Bubble for the Nintendo DS. And it's a game that suffers from a pretty shit name, pretty shit box art, and next to no marketing when it came. But it is beautiful. Basically, you are a little hairless, like, tree folk thing, and your job is to guide spirits from point A to point B in bubbles. So you draw the bubble, you can cut the bubbles apart, you can bring the bubbles together, and you drag across the screen with the stylus to blow the bubbles in different directions. And there are environmental hazards, there are sort of buttons to push, there are narrow passages to bubble down to get through to. It's super cheap on eBay if you don't want to, if you want it physically rather than just getting an emulator. I think it's one of the few games where actually having the stylus to be able to stroke across probably is important to it. It's amazing. You can get a copy for like £4 or £5 on eBay, and there is no game more relaxing or more satisfying. So yeah, those are my recommendations this time.
Thanks for picking up my slack.
Pardon?
Thanks for picking up my slack.
Anytime.
I have actually just like one thing to recommend, and it's actually like a productivity app.
Ooh.
That I thought was... Nick says it's super, super lame, but I don't really care because it's helpful, and I don't care. It's fine. I'll be lame. I'll be cheesy. I'll be corny. I don't care. But
I feel like the child in the middle of like a nasty... where the parents are passive-aggressively arguing with each other through conversations with me.
Well, it's called Habitica.
I've heard of it. I've never used it, but I've heard of it.
I find it really interesting, and I find it like it's not like... Obviously, it's for getting things done, so it's not fun, but it makes like doing incredibly horrible things that I have to get done a little bit better, because what it is it's an RPG, but it also is a task and like to-do list, and every time you get something done, it does damage to like the monsters that you're fighting, and every time you don't get that done, you take damage. So it sounds really lame, but it's super, super in-depth, and it's charming, and it's like, I don't know, like, I don't think for people who are already working very hard, it would be very useful. But for people who have depression and have no reason to get up, I think it could be very useful as a tool. Like, cause honestly, sometimes even, like, taking care of yourself is very difficult. And so having some incentive to do some of those small tasks could be helpful for people. And I find like since I work a lot with clients and it's something I don't really like, if there's something I know that I have to do, I can break it down into smaller parts and then get those done, and then eventually get the whole stupid thing done, and then like defeat a monster and it'll be fine. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's useful, but you guys can, it's whatever.
I could totally see myself doing a Tamagotchi 3 weeks later and my party's dead.
You can actually join like parties like with actual like your friends, and then you can for tasks.
You can do what?
You can form a party with like you have a QR code on your phone, and you could show it to your friend, and they can scan it, and they can join your party, and you can make yourselves accountable for tasks.
Oh man,
we should have a How Long to Beatica.
Yeah, and you can actually even form like guilds, and then you can have curated challenges. Like, you know how they have like the whole game of the month? They could actually have like a Habitica RPG task list for that.
Oh, and that would work really well for the what is it? Those annual gaming challenges where you have to like beat a game that starts with the letter whatever.
Yes, yeah, it would work really well. The only problem I could see with it is I think there are some restrictions onto how many you can actually add. Like, because I don't necessarily know because I haven't done too much in depth, but I think that there might be a limitation onto how many you can add. So like over 100 might not be feasible.
I think you're vastly overestimating.
No, I meant the software might not allow it. I don't know.
I'm saying I don't think we've got the people to test it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not people, it's the amount. Like, the amount of tasks. I don't know if you could put, like, over 100.
Right, so the challenge might have to be truncated. I'm with you.
Yeah, that was what I was saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there would be that many people interested anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Might be surprised.
And with that, I think that's it for this episode, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That is all she wrote, as it says in the Bible. That's from Leviticus 7, 4, 9, 3. It says, that's the end, suckers.
I was watching a video yesterday. It was of an old game called Captain Bible. And they were doing a playthrough. And the way it worked is that you would pick up Bible verses in the world, and then you would have to like use the right verse in the to.
What system was that on?
I wish I knew.
Because
I PC game.
Okay, because I had a game very similar to that. That was insanely horrible, and my mom would make me play it because she's just like, I don't know. She just made me play it, and it was horrible, and you had to attack using Bible verses.
Yes, it might be the same one. So it'd be like, we were created by the quirk of evolution, and you reply with the Bible, God made Adam, and he made Eve out of Adam, we are in...
Okay, well that one was for Game Boy.
Oh, it wasn't that one. It was in colour, so it's not Game Boy.
Because I think it was a Game Boy Color game, I don't know.
Shit.
It was bad.
I'm watching a video. This gameplay is amazing.
Let me find it in my history. I only watched it recently. It was... There's something that just tickles me about this game. Something that... I don't know. It's just something amazing.
Oh my gosh, there's a faith meter, and it's like your health. If you click it, it says your faith is at 20%. Isn't faith kind of like a yes or no thing? Like, how do you have 20% faith?
I mean, I think you can. You can have maybe a limited faith in. Is that the one that you're watching?
Let's see. Which one am I watching? No, I'm looking at some. That looks like a Let's Play. This is just like a gameplay video. Oh my god! There was just like a... What was that thing? It's like a... I don't even know how to describe this. It's like, you know those things from the end of Half-Life 2? The like flying worm things?
No, I haven't played Half-Life.
Oh my gosh. It's like there's like a flying worm thing, but it's only like its upper half, and it's coming out of this wall, and it has like a green gas mask, and it's shooting you with is that a laser, or is it like gas?
I don't know, but the fun begins about 4 minutes. Skip to that.
Well, I mean, whatever you do, don't use Psalms 116 against the muscle worm.
Oh yeah, I saw that bit, and then he's just like...
Don't, whatever you do, not Psalms 116.
I'll keep it in mind.
That's a good life. Whatever you do, don't use.
Or maybe that's a 7. Maybe Psalms 116 is fine, but Psalms 716, that's the one you gotta watch out for.
I legit can't even find the game that I used to play. What an interesting turn of events.
Oh, and now there's like one of those things from Star Wars. You know how like Luke has his lightsaber out and like the flying thing keeps like shooting the little beams at him while he has the mask on? There's like one of those things that he's fighting right now.
Yeah.
It's like Punch-Out almost. With the perspective.
Yeah, I know the bit you mean. And you had to like aim for it.
Yeah. Oh, what's this? Oh, he killed the worm.
He did indeed.
He killed the worm. What did him in? Let's see. What Bible verse was that? Let's see. It was Genesis 1:27.
Oh, I think I might have found you're talking about. I think it's just called Bible game. Although those graphics do look a bit too good. So I'm... This is why we never finish on time.
So, with that being said, ending on that lovely note, I think we'll call it quits there.
We probably should.
And another day dawns on the How Long to Beat podcast.
Oh no.
Will we ever see our intrepid heroes again? Or will they be lost with the tumbleweeds across the desert expanse? Find out next time.
You went to commit and...
Yeah, I'm increasingly apathetic towards crazy westerns.
God damn it. See you all next time.